And I know that's where homeboys were.
Yes, homeboys were at Kengeles.
So JK's is one of those pillars. Where does the story go now from here?
So basically, it's interesting how now a major transition for my life. So when I was at JK's, it's like God started tagging my heart.
But they Ken got saved?
Ken got saved.
What?
Ken got saved.
Man, I'd love to get Ken's story. That's crazy.
And then he left me at this joint. So, man, I haven't even talked to him for such a long time, Bana. But so when I was in JK's, I started feeling God tagging my heart. Mm-hmm. Remember, I was not a Christian, but somehow God and I used to communicate.
Yep.
I remember, in fact, so crazy, when I was in the UK, God gave me Psalm 91. I have no idea how. But Psalm 91 is one of my pillars of scriptures that I cling on to. Mm-hmm. And Psalm 23.
And it says?
So Psalm 91 is one for he who dwells in the shelter of the Most High shall abide under the shadow of the Almighty. So I'm not a believer. And by the time when I left Kenya to go to the UK, my dad gave me his Bible. And that's what God spoke to me through Psalm 91. Mm-hmm. One of the few days that I opened the Bible. Yes, yeah. You know. So when I was in JK's, this place is happening, but then God starts tagging my heart. I'm not anywhere near him, you guy. I'm not going to church. Yeah, you know, I used to think guys of church are corny, but I had no beef with God. I just couldn't understand his people. That's probably what put me off from Christianity. Mm-hmm. So, so my boy, one of my best friend, Monga's brother, I used to stay with Akina Monga in my single room. Mm. So his big brother got saved, and I saw the change that took place in his life. I mean, it was amazing seeing Kama's life changed. So now, as guys are in the dundaing, in the clubs, dundaing like crazy, man. Things are happening.
You're making money.
You're making tunes. Dude, those days, someone calls you for a wedding, bana. They pop 50 G's.
Then?
Yeah. Dude, let me even tell you now how we used to make more money. Then, a mixtape, as you're mixing at JK's.
Yes.
Someone wants your mixes. So all you do, you used to have a tape player there. So you just put the tape as you're mixing, and it's already been booked. And getting that tape is 7 reds.
What?
These things the guys are selling for 50 bucks now. Yeah. Those tapes was in 90s, the chromes.
Yes.
We used to sell them for 7 reds. The cheapest you could get that tape was 5 sock. Even the Ma3s. The cheapest I could sell a mixtape for was 5 sock.
Yeah.
It was something else, man. So let me say money wasn't a thing at that time.
It wasn't.
It used to happen, man. So, I mean, this
And are you still selling CDs to people?
No.
Or now, you don't?
You can.
If you want music, you come to where I'm at.
Soko iliharibika.
Demand. Hold on, Moz.
Okay.
Let's change some batteries. We'll be back. Sorry, apologies. The story has bambered. We had to change the batteries. So Moz, you've told us about Kindaing tapes.
Yeah.
We'll just go with this story.
Those were cassettes.
Yeah, I mean, cassettes, yeah.
So I was saying that, money was not a problem when I was at JK's. So when I'm in this place and JK's is happening, man, this place is completely packed. So God starts tagging my heart in that place. You guys, there's no place God can't find you, man. So I've seen the change that's taking place in my boys.
Oh yes, Kama's.
In Kama's life. And Kama, from being drinking like crazy, party freak, and now he's sober, man, he's focused, and he's starting to tell us about Christ. But for me, we had already heard about Christ. We already knew about Christ. Growing up, Mama taken us to Sunday school so much, and the youth church so much. So we pretty much knew a lot at that point. It was head knowledge.
Yes.
And so even though my boys, like, I used to have a crew of 10 guys, Bana. Solid guys. We used to hang out every day. So this gang of mine, even though we're not Christians, they could sit down and have deep conversations about the things of God. I remember one time, I'll never forget this. And sorry if it seems like I'm jumping
No, it's
around.
okay. Jump around.
So we're not believers. Us guys are all lost. Even though I never used to party, chicks were a huge part. And So here we are, having a deep conversation, asking ourselves, was John the Baptist Elijah?
Were you on that blizzy blizzy blazzy? You know those convos come after some second hand.
Is this Kenyan? No, we're not.
But then did you ever smoke weed?
No. Here's the funny thing. From all my boys, none of us ever smoked. And out of the whole crew, probably 2 guys drank.
So, and I'm not trying to, I'm just being like, you just weren't saved.
I just wasn't saved. And never used to talk to God that often. But
Though
we
he used
knew,
to talk to you.
But we knew that God exists and used to talk to, like, I think he used to talk to me, bro. And whenever I asked him of something, bro, he never denied me.
That's deep. I like hearing that.
Maybe it's the blessings that come because my grandparents were believers and my parents. Maybe
I just think it's God's character. That's who he is.
Because he makes the sun shine on the righteous and the unrighteous, and they ain't the same.
Yeah, sometimes we can box it and say it's because of what your parents did, your grandparents did, which is true to a certain extent. Man. There's a power of a praying mother, but when you begin to understand God and his love, there's no hole that's too deep that
they can't find
he didn't write you off.
So here we are.
So you're seeing Kama now doing this radical.
Kama's life changing, and so I don't go to church. I've no desire of going to church. I'm going to be partying, it's shikaing.
And you're working also.
I'm working.
Saturday night you're working.
Dude,
till the wee hours of the morning.
Wednesday, Friday, Saturday. Those are my nights for JKs. And I remember one time Kama came and told me, Moz, maze kuna church fulani nimepata maze. I think it's a good church you might appreciate. I was like, why? Because he knows I love music. Was like, in fact, this church has drums and keyboards. I was like, huh? They have drums and keyboard in your church? I was like, we have to go and check out this church. So he took me to Nairobi Chapel.
Oh.
He took me to Nairobi Chapel over here at Mamlaka here. So I went to chapel one day.
What year is this?
This is 99. So I went to Nairobi Chapel one day. So they had a 5 o'clock service, which worked perfectly for me. Sundays, I don't work on Sundays. So we leave the club, JK's, early in the morning, like at 3. You get home, you swatch. Then we bond as boys. Then that 5 o'clock, I went to him for the 5 o'clock service. I was like, yeah, it looks interesting. Then you don't go for like another month. Then you go again. So even though I had not gone to church for 8 years, 9 years at that point.
Yeah.
Here I am now. I started go visiting this church. So I wasn't a regular, but I didn't mind it. It looked a little bit different. So, but the funny thing was, I was lost in the world, and then God is tagging my heart. He's like, man, you need to surrender your life to me. How crazy is this? It's not even because that I'm going to chapel. Because I wasn't a regular.
Yeah.
So
it's while you're at Jake's that he's doing this tagging.
It's while I'm at Jake's. This thing is kicking. That's when he's starting to talk to me, telling me, man, you need to surrender your life to me. And I'm like, this is weird. But my beef was not about leaving JK's. Actually didn't even have an issue about stopping to do secular music if I was going to give my life to Christ. And these are the conversations I'm having with him.
What? So what was your beef? His people?
He's my friends. I have this crew, boys whom I've grown up with.
Was quotations Apple. I feel you.
Yani, these guys we hang out with every single day, Monday to Monday. We're all age mates.
I'm not leaving them, God.
As in, how? These are guys whom I've been rolling with, Bana. We do all our stupid things together. Like we could all be out there doing our own things during the weekdays, but in the after 2 p.m. we're all together.
Okay.
As in, this was like, this crew was my ride or die. So my issue was not about JK's. My issue was not about the secular music that I was playing. It was what's going to happen to my relationship with my friends. Because I can't leave them. It was I can't leave these guys. So here you go, and you hear guys telling you, when you get saved, you have to change. You have to leave the things that you used to do. You have to walk away from the people you used to be with. I was like, that ain't happening. I'm not leaving my boys, because
there's no other life
I don't know anyone else.
Yeah.
This is my crew. I don't know guys of church. These are the guys who I know. And it got to a point where I was like, okay, God, I'm going to surrender. But as I surrender, I'm going to demonstrate a different kind of Christianity.
Yo.
I'm going to be hip. I'm going to have a good time, and I'm going to be a believer, and I will not compromise on my values. I will show young people, and it was not even actually about young people. I basically told God, I am going to demonstrate a different kind of Christianity to my boys.
Friends, yeah.
Because they're the guys whom I know. And we all used to talk about the issues that we have with guys in the church. I was like, I'm going to show them a different kind of Christianity. One, that you can be hip and still be saved. One, that you can still be saved and hang out with these guys and not have to compromise. Because I didn't have anywhere else to go anyway. So, one Sunday I rock up to Mamlaka and I don't know if the sermon was about the portrait of the cross, but that sermon somehow was stuck in my mind. It was done by a guy called Dr. Wangai. And so Dr. Wangai goes ahead and tells us about what Jesus went through to pay the price for our salvation. And he used Psalm 22. Now this guy is a doctor. So he's breaking it down for us, Yani, from a medical perspective, the pain that Christ was feeling. Because Psalm 22 talks about, it's where it says, my God, why have you forsaken me? When Christ is talking about those words, it's there in Psalm 22. So he's basically telling us when he's sweating blood, it's because of the pressure. It's because of what he was going to go through. Like, he could feel it. He's God. He's 100% man, but he's also 100% God. So he knew what he was going to go through. So when he's telling God, Yani, if it's your will, Yani, please move this cup away from me. However, not my will, but your will be done. It's because he knew what he was going to go through. So I think by the end of that sermon, man, I was like, okay, I think I need to surrender at this point.
This guy did a lot for me.
This guy did a lot for me. There's no way I can ignore this tagging in my heart for this long time.
So like, how long had it been tagging on your heart? 2 months, a month, 5 months?
Let me say maybe something like 3 months, if I'm not wrong. So the Pasi, I'll never forget that the Pasi made an altar call. And I looked around, I looked at my boy. I was like, I'm not going forward.
But now it's tagging heavy.
I knew. I surrendered my life to Christ at that point.
Oh, you surrendered, but you said, I'm not going forward.
I'm not going forward. I looked around and I said, this is my decision with Christ. It has nothing to do with y'all.
Yo, powerful.
This is my decision with Christ. So I have decided I'm going to follow. But I'm not going forward. I don't know if I'm a rebel in some of these spaces, but that day, I became a believer. I became a Christian.
Can you remember the day? Can you remember the year?
I think it was September 19th.
What year?
99.
99, huh?
So, but the funny thing is, religion has haunted us for the longest time. I knew I'd given my life to Christ. But because I'd not gone forward, then I started doubting, maybe siku okoka.
You've got a thing on your shoulder.
Yeah, this place is full of ants, bro.
It's not an ant.
It's a doo-doo. It is a worm.
It's a caterpillar.
And it's those funny ones.
Hairy caterpillar.
Yeah. I hope it's not been creeping on my neck. Imekuwa? Oh, iza. Sawa. So saying that religion never leaves us. Because I started feeling a couple of weeks later that maybe because I didn't go forward and maybe sikuokoka. Kwa sababu sikuenda mbele.
Yeah.
So I'm saying it's religion, man. So one time my boy Kama says, I'm going to GM. Jesus is alive. They had an evening service.
Just the live ministries.
Yes.
Yeah.
And so Kama was like, Situende. I was like, okay, so we went down.
Have you told him now you're saved?
Yeah.
So you told him that day, hey, by the way, may I give my life to Christ?
There's something else I'm going to tell you about my conversations with Kama. You won't even believe. As I'm telling you, God is tagging me while I'm in the clubs. So anyway, but first let me tell you about this one here. So we go to GM, and so Bishop Margaret Wanjiru does an altar call. And I'm like, okay, let me go forward. Now this is the confirmation of my salvation.
Let me do it.
It's so religious, Bana. Some of the things that we ask people to do. But I gave my life to Christ when I was in Nairobi Chapel.
Yeah.
And when I went home, I knelt down, I asked God for forgiveness and, accepted Christ as my Lord and Savior, because it was like, this is my decision between him and I.
Yeah.
And so now I'm in a space where I'm like, okay, now I've become a believer, but I'm still in the Dundaing, the Dundaing world. I'm still in the clubs, it's still happening in the clubs, because I didn't leave JK's.
Yeah, you didn't quit.
I didn't quit JK's.
Yeah.
It was what I was doing. It was my bread and butter. But funny, so Kama used to do some gigs, and he still does this till today. He started a business where he offers transport for hotel guys, people in the hotel industry. So he goes, picks up their stuff, and he drops them home. So on nights when I was not busy, sometimes I would take Kama. I used to love conversations with him. So I used to take him around at night to go pick up guys and then drop them home. And there's a tape that Kama used to play by Kirk Franklin, God's Property. That's
So
the
God's
time when I
Property
got
has
to
come
know
out.
that. So it had come out in 97, 96.
Oh yeah, stop, you're right.
Yeah. So when I was in the clubs, I didn't even know that was a gospel song.
Yeah, because you usually play it there.
It was a bang in the club.
It was a good one.
Yeah. So we're having conversations with Kama, and then he tells me about, man, I want to open a restaurant. So I'm here as a secular DJ. I told Kama, actually Kama, it'd be nice if I can be the first gospel DJ, I'm in the clubs in JK's. My only exposure to gospel music is
Stomp.
And I'm telling Kama, I'd like to become the first gospel DJ. When you open your restaurant, I'll come play gospel music for you in your restaurant. Because I'm doing it already at JK's. So the difference is not much. But my only exposure to gospel music is Stomp. And I'm a heathen. I'm lost. I'm just keeping Kama company here.
Yeah.
So it's funny the conversations I used to have with Kama. And, when I tell you how God connects the dots.
Yep.
So I give my life to Christ. I'm still at JK's. And I have no gospel music.
Hold on. When you gave your life to Christ that day at chapel, you told Kama that day.
I told Kama that day.
You're like, I gave my life to Christ this day.
Yep.
And how was he?
He was happy, Bana. Oh man, he was very, very happy.
Okay,
man.
that's cool.
That's a good question.
Okay, the reason why I asked that is because you said you said you didn't go forward. I wanted to find out, did you not go forward because you were embarrassed about Kama knowing? So what I'm realizing is you just didn't go forward, but that decision you really made it.
Bro, I looked around the church, and Kama was probably next to me, and I said, I'm not going forward. In my heart, I was like, this is my decision between Christ and I. It has nothing to do with your...
I get it.
So,
I get it.
And it wasn't out of arrogance, but I just felt...
No, I hear it. It was your path.
This is what I've decided to do with Christ. And so...
so now coming back to JK's.
So I'm in JK's, and I also told my boys that I've become a Christian.
Oh, in fact, that's the one that was a
big one. That was a biggie. But I already made up my mind anyway.
Yeah.
If I become a Christian, I'm not leaving my boys.
Yeah.
I'm going to demonstrate. I'm going to show them a different kind of Christianity.
In fact, that's why I've become a Christian. It's part of my calling.
That was it, man. And it was very clear for me that I needed to demonstrate a different kind of Christianity. It was very clear for me. And when I became a believer, I believe that God hooked me up with Joshua chapter 1. And it's the one after Moses had died.
Yeah,
I remember one Sunday morning, I don't even know I not go to church, maybe because I was tired from JK's. but I was a believer, So I sat in the house and in my room, and I picked up the Bible and Joshua chapter 1. And basically God says, listen, Moses, my servant, is dead. And so I want you to pick up these people and take them to the promised land. These are the things I want you to do. I want you to know that every place that the sole of your foot treads on, I've given it to you. I want you to Basically, I'm going to paraphrase it, read my word, meditate on it night and day, never depart from it. And be strong and courageous. Do not be afraid. So that was very clear for me.
It was like the first instruction sort of God gave you after giving your life to Christ.
Yeah. And I knew, the other thing that I knew was my life and Moses in the Bible, I was like, these are very parallel. Because Moses was trained in Egypt. I've been in Egypt for the longest time. I've become a Christian. I'm like, God, what do I have to give you? Man, what you've given me is the gift of DJing. So I'm going to give it back to you. You use it for your glory. I have no gospel music.
Only Stomp.
I don't even have Stomp. It was in a tape. Remember, all my music is what I've been getting every month from the UK. I'm still getting this constant stream of music, man, that's coming in. Brand new, spanking new, man.
You guys, this is about to be crazy.
So, and sometimes even some from South Africa, like when TKZ came out, we introduced TKZ
into this country.
The Lama Panzola.
Yeah.
That jam.
So where did you get that song from?
Because my boy, who used to date Monga's sister, had traveled to SA and come back with that jam.
I remember JKs used to play. I found about that song from the club.
Yep.
Okay.
So it's anyway.
I mean, and that was so big to the point where TKZ came to Kenya.
Yeah.
I remember guys saying, "Show me your Ngoza." Show me your Ngoza. Say show.
Can picture unity.
Hey boss, you are responsible for all me knowing these songs. It is you, Moz. Anyway.
Oh man, it was something else. So here I am. I'm still in the clubs and I have no gospel music. But God has his way of doing things. So my best friend Meju, Meju is a serious connector. So I just didn't mention his name. So Meju used to work in the same office with Ken. Ken who sold me the equipment from JK's.
Yeah.
So Meju and I go way back from when we were kids. He lives in LA now. So from when we were kids, like when we were like 7 years old, we've been together. So Meju has a friend that he used to go to school with, but his friend now is a believer. Actually, I think his friend was from Jehovah's Witness, Kosea. But he used to love gospel music. And so Meju's friend had another friend who had a collection of gospel music.
Oh.
And this guy is Oscar Rigi from all over.
Yeah.